The Brewers hadn't had a hit against Jameson Taillon. It's down 1-0. A two-out double by Jackson Chourio was cashed in by Bryce Terang.
The 1-1. Here's a ground ball back up the middle. It's going to sneak through it into center field.
2-1. Line drive, base hit, right center field. Bryce Terang delivers. Rounding third is Chourio. He'll score. Tucker plays it in to hold Terang at first with a game-tying two-out. RBI knock. Terang delivers indeed. It's a 1-1 game in the third, and the scoreless streak is snapped.
So that made it end at 21 straight innings without a run, but the failure of a shutdown inning. And I'm going to play this call. I know it's an opposite team highlight, but just if you're like me and you listen to this and you sat here and like, man, that is way too loud for a road home run.
Holds 3-2. Drilled deep, way back. This is going to be, I think, his third homer of the series. It is into the Cubs bullpen, a 3-run shot. Pete Crow Armstrong dominating the series. And there's the game-changing swing in the fourth. A 3-run blast makes it 4-1 Cubs.
They would never look back from there. In fact, back-to-back homers, another from Dansby Swanson right after PCA. They would add a homer from Kyle Tucker in the fifth. The one highlight for the Brewers offensively was Rhys Hoskins hitting a home run, his fourth of the season. But, I mean, not much to write home about on the offensive side of the ball. Jerry Augustine is with us, too. I mean, man. Augie, the reaction to always having the Cubs here, it's not a foreign entity. It's not anything that sneaks up on anybody that how many Cubs fans come to this ballpark. But there was something a little different about tonight, and there was just something that got under my skin, and maybe that's exactly what they want to hear, and I'm fine with admitting it, but it's the truth, and it's the flat-out truth. It was loud in here tonight, and it was a vast majority of Cubs fans. In my 5 years here, that was the biggest majority I've seen since I've been in this role, and it sucks to wear it like that, but I have to speak my truth. I think that's the truth of what happened tonight.
Well, it's a rivalry, and I know some guys were saying it's not really a rivalry, but it is a rivalry. And, you know, you look at what the Cubs fans, the way the season has started, they come into the series, and they're first in batting average in Major League Baseball. They're first in runs scored, and they're second in home runs. So, and they're playing winning baseball. So, you know, the fans are going to come up to Milwaukee and follow their club. It's so close to Chicago. So, yeah, it was loud. It kind of surprised me to see the ball hit and all the fans started standing up cheering right away. But I'll tell you what, the Cubs come in. They've been producing on the offensive side, and they've really shown it the first two games.
Yeah, I mean, it really felt like 2017 in here for a little while. You know, I mean, there were some fans that remember what it was like 2017 in here and what that, you know, preparation was to hype yourself. All right, it's a Cubs series. Oh, boy, here we go. But nonetheless, I think part of this, too, Augie, is they have plenty to cheer about right now. The Brewers simply don't. The offense is non-existent. The pitching, Quintana was the guy that you're most excited about, and then he has his first clunker as a Brewer. And I know some people say, oh, he was due for regression. Like, that's not how professional athletes operate. You operate like you're going to throw a perfect game every single time until you don't. And today, to get punched in the mouth in the first inning again, I think that's the biggest thing that stings, is to let up a run in the first inning, and then to fail to get that shutdown inning in the fourth inning, where the two things is just like, you can't catch a break. You can't find a way to get by this team because every time you have a response, they have a better one to follow up.
Yeah, you're right. You know, that first inning, they gave him that big two-out hit by Turner, the former Dodger. He's done it many, many times. We used to remember him playing against the Brewers. He'd come up with some big two-out hits against us. But I thought that was a key, getting that lead run, getting it early. You know, the Brewers now, I guess when the opponents have scored, like, are they 0-13 when the opponents have scored first? But getting that first run, getting on the board in that first inning with two outs was huge. And then it just seemed like Quintana settled down. He pitched good for a couple innings, and in that fourth inning, he just made a couple mistakes, and he made mistakes with fastballs. It looked like today, Dom, that he usually commands the outside part of the plate and inside part of the plate to a lefty, outside to a right-hander. He really dominates where he can expand his right zone. That makes him be more aggressive on the inside where he can throw the pitches and make some mistakes and get away with them. Today he didn't have that. It just seemed like in that fourth inning he wasn't getting away. He wasn't able to expand his right zone. The Cub hitters were making adjustment. And if you look at the three home runs, at 2 home runs in the fourth. Both were on fastballs. Where were they? They were centered a little bit. Got in counts. One, of course, the Swanson was a 3-0 fastball, but Crow Armstrong was just a fastball out of the way where he went out, was able to turn on it. Just seemed like he made a little bit of mistake today with some of his pitches on the outer half. And anytime you see Quintana go 98 pitches in 5 innings, you know his command probably wasn't as sharp as he usually is.
Yeah, and we talked about this in his last start against the Cardinals where, and this is slightly a dig at the Cardinals, but it's the truth. The Cardinals offense and the Cubs offense are night and day. It almost looks like a AAA offense versus a big league offense at times. And
you're right.
I know that comes off as kind of harsh, but the truth is the Cubs offense is arguably the best top-to-bottom offense in baseball right now. That includes the Dodgers. That includes the Yankees. That includes the Padres. And if you're a little off, like we saw in that fourth inning, like we saw in his last start against the Cardinals, you're going to pay for it. I mean, here's how off he was, right? He was ahead 1-2 on Carson Kelly. Count works full, then an infield hit. He gets Turner to strike out, but then falls behind 1-0 on Horner. He gets an infield hit. He was ahead 1-2 on Crow Armstrong before that count went full, and he hit the home run. And then, like you said, the 3-0 fastball to Dansby Swanson, who has had a great road trip, but otherwise had been slumping coming into this series. He gets a 3-0 heater, green light when a guy's slumping. That's the last thing that you want to throw because you know that's all he's looking for. When you're a little off against the best maybe in the National League, they're going to make you pay no matter what your ERA says or how strong you've been so far in the year.
Yeah, the way the Cubs have been playing, and you see their strength with their batting average and their home runs and their runs scored, really the top part of their order when you look at Happ and Tucker, Suzuki, and Kelly, they've all been really contributing almost each and every day, swinging the bat very well. Turner is in there today, but really where they've been really successful is the bottom part of that order. You get Swanson and Horner and Crow Armstrong swinging the bat as well. Crow Armstrong is probably as hot as any hitter in baseball right now. He's got 3 home runs in this series. So you're getting all parts of this order that's kind of just coming together, and they're getting good pitches, and they're hitting pitches that pitchers make mistakes on. And there's no doubt about it. They're in a situation right now where they're swinging the bat very well, really making the opponent pitchers throw good pitches and not make mistakes. But on the other side, it was just the opposite. Where the Brewers, they were being aggressive. You got to give the pitchers, Burke and yesterday Brown and today Fallon, they were throwing strikes, getting ahead. Their pitch counts were effective. They were having good pitch counts and getting ahead of hitters. And we were just being a little bit too aggressive, it seems like at times, and putting the ball in play and just could get nothing going. Although we had Chirio and Terang really swung the bat pretty well today, I thought.
Yeah, we'll get into some of the offensive thoughts, too, and plenty of texts that I'm rolling into, so I got to get to some of those as well. 855-616-1620. You can call, you can text, 855-616-1620. Take our first break. We're going until 10 o'clock tonight, right here in your home of the Brewers, 620 WTMJ.
If you need a place for new home interior ideas, then you have to come talk to us. Our on-staff decorators know furniture, home decor, and a lot more. And they're not only creative, but also very willing to help you make great choices. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee. Stop in often because our inventory changes daily.
Design Exchange.
Previously, it has been gently loved, but here you'll only find very well-conditioned premium home decor items that you likely won't find elsewhere. Distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original art, and other tasteful home decor at a value. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor on consignment at 25 to 40% off retail prices in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
The I-94 rivalry is more than just bragging rights. Get to the ballpark for Brewers Cubs action May 2nd through the 4th and spend Friday and Saturday night under the lights and help the crew defend American Family Field and the National League Central Crown.
That's your ball game!
Then pack the park for Sunday matinee baseball at the May 4th series finale and take advantage of the Sunday Fun Day bundle. Get your tickets now at Brewers.com.
Hi, I'm Eric Brown, owner of Outdoor Living Unlimited. Outdoor Living Unlimited is Wisconsin's #1 TimberTech decking installer. We install anything decks and more. Stop by Outdoor Living Unlimited showroom and visit OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Brewers Extra Innings continues here on 620 WTMJ. It's brought to you by Fifth Third Bank. Looking for a banking partner that truly understands your business needs? Look no further than Fifth Third Bank. With a local team here in Milwaukee, they know how to hit it out of the park every time. For 15 years, they've been serving our community with industry-specific expertise and local decision-making that helps your business thrive. Experience the unique commercial banking value only Fifth Third can deliver. Fifth Third Bank, National Association, member FDIC. I'm Tom Cotroneo with Jerry Augustine, former Brewers pitcher. Brewers fall today 6-2. And the elephant in the room, Augie, is the offense. And, 21 straight innings without a run scored. They finally broke that slide. And then Reese goes yard for a home run. And that, at the time, had made it 5-2. But then the Cubs responded again to make it 6-2, which was ultimately the final. I mean, if it wasn't for an infield hit in the ninth inning from Bryce Terang, the Brewers, they went down 14 in a row until that infield hit. But it really felt like 17 in a row after he was quickly erased on a double play. Murph talked about it after the game, and I'll play the audio later on in the show, but we've lost our edge, in the words of Pat Murphy, and I think that's a perfect way to sum things up, because I look at this lineup, and they're all big league players. It's not for a lack of efforts, but there is something. There's a notch that still needs to be turned, maybe more than one notch, because it is not there. There is not a click. There is not a spark. There is not a guy that says, get on my back, let's go to work today. I'm struggling to find that right now. I think that's a big thing plaguing the crew.
Yeah, we talked just a couple of weeks ago how when you looked at this lineup and it was flip-flop before, it was Terang and Chourio. I think he just tried to start something, having Chourio being aggressive at the plate as he is. Those top six guys were all competing, and they're all getting on base, and it maybe on each and every night. It wasn't all of them, but it was some of those guys picking it up. It might be two or three of those guys getting in there, really getting the ball rolling, and then one guy come up with a big base hit. They're able to do that. It just seems like in the last week or in the last road trip, what we saw to this ball club is they've been getting pitched to. There's no question. You got to give the opponent pitchers credit at times, but they've been falling behind, and then not giving good at bats, going deep in the counts like at times they did. We saw them the other night be very aggressive early in the game, and then they changed that and they went to be very patient and worked out for them. So I think it's just their approach right now. I think number one, the opponent pitchers are getting ahead with strike one and strike two, and that's putting them on the defense. But I agree with you. There's no one in that top six that we looked at so far that was swinging the bat so well several weeks ago that has been able to pick up and carry this team. And this team needs it. They didn't just not one or two guys, but they need up and down the order to get good at bats, get on base, manufacture some runs, and I think everything will be okay.
And we talk about the youth, and we talk about, oh my gosh, this team's so young, they're still going through it. But at the same time, I want to walk with this professionally and with a right attitude about it. And they know this too, but William Contreras and Christian Yelich in the middle of this order, they are shouldering this load right now. For them to go a combined 0 for 8 today with 3 strikeouts and a double play, we've documented it that William hasn't had an extra base hit in 17 games. Yelly, he hit the grand slam at San Francisco, but otherwise he's 0 for his last 15 right now. Those two guys, those are your pillars in the words of Pat Murphy. And we talk about a season ago how the pillars were blending well with the youth, and it was giving the youth confidence. Even when Chourio was struggling in the beginning of the season, you could lean on the pillars. And then in the second half of the season, it was Chourio and Terang sort of bringing the pillars along with them, that sort of thing. Right now, the pillars, aside from Rhys Hoskins, are in a funk. They're trying to figure things out. Terang's playing sick. He reaches base 3 times. Chourio finally gets an extra base hit. He showed a little more better approach today, only swinging at the first pitch once today. The bottom of the order, all the young guys, they were a combined 0 for today. So it starts setting the tone with those pillars, and I know it's not for a lack of effort. I know they're going to figure it out. But this is part of the reason the Brewers are in this funk right now, is because the guys that you were like, well, the veterans, don't have to worry about those guys because they'll be fine. They aren't fine right now, and once they get going, you have to hope the offense will follow.
Well, I agree with you. I think when you look at this batting order, it's all centered around Contreras and Yelich. And in that 3-4 spot in the lineup. And I think when you're seeing opponents do, they're really concentrating on not allowing those guys to beat you. Make sure you make good pitches on them, pitch them tough, get ahead of them, pitch the ball on the inside-outside part of play. And they've been pitching these two guys very tough. I think Chourio and Turang have been swinging the bat fine. I like their approach, and they've been going after. They put the bat on the ball, and we see it today when those two guys got 3 hits and scored the one run in the third inning with 2 outs. But then you look at the other guys coming along. I think Rhys Hoskins is actually swinging the bat pretty good. He's hit some balls hard. He hasn't had a lot of luck. But and Frelick is really, he's put the bat on the ball without any luck. But you need these guys to come through. You need that middle part of that order. When you look at Chourio and Turang doing a nice job, I think, Dom, I agree with you. You need that Contreras and that Yelich and the Hoskins and the Frelick to really put the bat on the ball, give some good at bats, get on base, and really start some innings where they can follow each other and get some big base hits and manufacture some runs.
Yeah, I wonder, what it takes to get those guys going in the right direction, right? We're seeing the torpedo bats now. Yelly's timing is off. I had a great conversation today with Connor Dawson, hitting coach of the Brewers, just talking about overall. I mean, I joked with him, I hate that I'm talking to the hitting coach after back-to-back shutouts, but I got to check in on what's going on. And, he kind of echoes a lot of what you were saying, Augie, in that those guys in the middle are getting pitched tough, but at the same time, as long as your process is sound, you should be able to produce results at some point. And you look at the guys they've been facing, a lot of heavy fastballs, a lot of sinker ballers, a lot of ground ball guys that are ground ball first sort of guys. And Yelly, 2 strikeouts, 2 groundouts today. William, 2 of the 3 balls he put in play were ground balls. So you got to understand who's hitting at you. And then I look at William, too. He swung at the first pitch 3 out of 4 plate appearances today. So he's a guy that, in my opinion, is pressing and trying to find his power. He's certainly aware of the lack of pop from his side of things, because everything gets magnified when a day, Frelick goes over today, only 3 plate appearances from Sal Frelick today because he hit 6 and the Brewers went down in order so much. But Joey continues to struggle with 3 pop-outs today. Durbin, 2 pop-outs and a strikeout today. I mean, Murph talked about it in the post-game show today, too. It's like they had 10 pop-outs today. I mean, it just felt like every ball in play was a pop-out. Nothing was confident. There's that edge we're talking about again.
Yeah, that talent, being able to keep the hitters off stride. You get pop-ups. How do you get pop-ups? You make a good, solid pitch with your fastball, and you keep them off stride. The one thing when you're talking about Contreras and Yelich and these guys, I think the one thing when we talk about Dom and we talk about our pitchers having success, we talk their ability to expand the strike zone. When they can expand the zone, Quintana, when he can expand the strike zone, he's extremely good. Freddie's the same way. All the starting pitchers and the pitchers in the bullpen, when they can expand the strike zone, pitch and expand the strike zone, they're very successful. I think that's a little bit what's happening with Contreras and Yelich, and a little bit even with Hoskins at times. They're getting ahead of him with good pitches, and then they're expanding the strike zone. I thought today, especially with Christian, it looked like he swung at a couple balls that were a little bit out of the strike zone, a little bit expanding that strike zone when the other opponents were getting ahead. And I think that's just something you gotta sit back, you gotta change, say, hey, Kay, how are they approaching me? I'm gonna make them throw me strikes. If I walk, but I'm gonna make them throw me strikes. I think expanding the strike zone, pitchers have done that, especially with Contreras and Yelich, and I think it's paid off against our Brewer offense.
We'll talk about this. Is a good text that will lead us into our next segment. At what point do you get concerned that they can't compete with the Cubs? Are the Cubs really that much better? I think that's a good question. We can unlock that in the next segment. A couple of other texts that have rolled in here as well. Tom from Pewaukee, I really hope Yelly's in left field tomorrow. I'm going to lose my mind. I don't care about his defensive abilities. Maybe he's just not a good DH. And that's something I want to talk to Yelly a little bit more at length with. That's a good question there, Tom. We are putting the most important player on the team in a situation to fail. I know it doesn't solve everything. The Cubs are just a much better team right now, but maybe it's a start. I'm surprised that we're saying this. This is from the 414. Our key big guys, 0 hits. Agreed. That's what we just talked about there. 2 runs in 3 games won't do the job. And with this schedule in May, they could find themselves 8 to 10 games out at the end of May. Better change fast. That text from Doug. So let's talk a little bit about what is the gap. Why is it so big right now between the Brewers and the Cubs? That's coming up next. 855-616-1620. Again, 855-616-1620 on your home of the Brewers, 620 WTMJ.
Two Wisconsin icons are teaming up on a reworked classic. Cousin Subs and U-Zingers are proud to introduce the all-new Fried Bologna Sub, featuring U-Zingers fried bologna, bacon, American cheese, onions, pickles, mayo, and mustard on fresh-baked Italian bread. And that's not all. Pair your fried bologna with a creamy cupcake shake topped with whipped cream and rainbow sprinkles. Now that's a better combination. Order both in-store, online, or via the mobile app. Cousin Subs. We believe in better.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for QC Kinetics. For more than 8 years, QC Kinetics has been the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain. You heard that right, non-surgical relief. More than 50,000 patients who had knee pain, back pain, now living pain-free. Those with shoulder and hip pain, it's gone. The regenerative cell therapy restores tissues in your achy joints. Dr. Caravelli's team uses biologic growth factors with robust healing properties carefully and strategically placed in your joint. And there's no surgery. Remember that. It's a powerful and potent way to give your joints new life, repairing the old tissue. Here's what you do. You call today, 414-285-3474, 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation. 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
This is Brewers Extra Innings on WTMJ.
Brewers lose 6-2 to the Cubs. They've lost the series, the first two of 13 games head-to-head on the year. Every game matters at the end of the year, especially a divisional round. I'm Dom Cotroneo. Jerry Augustine is with us. Now, the game's played on dirt, and right now that has all been in favor of the Cubs. I think the first and foremost biggest thing, the difference between these two clubs, Augie, and this is on purpose, is the difference in the ability to hit the ball over the fence. The Cubs said, you know what, let's get as many guys that have the ability to hit the ball over the fence. Kyle Tucker, obviously, a notable move. I was surprised that Seiya Suzuki was one of the only guys that didn't get on base today, given how much he torches left-handed pitching, but he can hit the ball over the fence. Carson Kelly's hot start has been well documented. It's going to run out eventually, right? But then you look at Michael Busch, you look at Pete Crow Armstrong, you look at Dansby going yard today. I mean, all these guys have home run potential. And then the Brewers, Reese, Yelly, Contreras all have that ability. Churio has that ability. But aside from that, the Brewers are built to put the ball in play and put the ball into spots where they can take advantage of base running and gap-to-gap power. Sometimes, man, it's just a reminder. The best play in baseball is the home run, and the Cubs have that advantage to start.
Yeah, there's no question. Well, they're second in the league in home runs right now, first in runs scored and first in batting average. I think that shows the difference in these two ball clubs right now. When you look at them, right, first of all, you think of Happ and Tucker. Those are the two key guys that you would think of when you start the season. Those are the guys who are going to be leading off hitting second. Tucker was picked up for a reason because he's such a great ball player. But I think when you look at the Cubs' success has been, really the success has been is Carson Kelly has been swinging the bat. Crow Armstrong is swinging the bat. Horner's hitting 290. You get Suzuki's hitting 280. These guys are all chipping in and they're all swinging the bat. They're all giving a part to this offense. I think that's where the Cubs are having so much success, is that it's not just the Happ and the Tuckers. It's the other guys that are really stepping in and swinging the bat. And right now, you're having a little different situation with the Brewers. You look back a couple of weeks ago, and everybody down the order, that first six guys in the lineup, boy, they were all getting on base, giving good at-bats. There was a difference there, and I think the real difference is in these two ball clubs is right now you have the meat of this batting order with Contreras and Hoskins and those guys and Yelly are not swinging the bat very well, and that's going to turn around. That's going to turn. Is there a big difference in this team? I think when you look at the power with the home runs, you definitely have to look at that. But when you look at the offensive potential, I think you look at this Brewer lineup. They got a lot of potential not only to hit home runs, but put runs on the board.
Yeah, and the problem, too, is the way that their offense is built is it's creating chaos on the base pass and being able to run and being able to create some havoc, right? But when you're trailing, you can't risk running into outs on the bases because every base runner is precious. That's part of the reason the gap is there, too, because the Cubs are so dynamic in the fact that they're doing what the Brewers did last year, mixing the homers with the stolen bases. It's pretty special to have a 40-40 month like they did in the month of April with 40 homers and 40 stolen bases. But another thing to remember that the Cubs, as they've won these first 2 games, they've done this to other teams. They've done this to the defending world champion Dodgers, right? They are not doing this by accident. You are far from the only team they have defeated. You won't see them again for more than, I think, almost 40 days. And between now and then, a lot can happen. And it's not just about the Brewers' health, because quite frankly, I'm kind of over hearing about the health of the Brewers. This is what you got. This is who's on the bus. And if you want to keep talking about, oh, who's coming, I get that. There is more reinforcements coming. But offensively, this is who they're going to be, aside from Blake Perkins and Garrett Mitchell. And with respect to those guys, I haven't seen 20 homers from either one of them in their careers either. So when you come to figuring out who's on the bus right now, what can you get it done? And it starts tomorrow with your opening day starter, Freddie Peralta. If there's anybody who's going to have an edge on this team, I hope it's going to be that guy tomorrow, because the Brewers haven't been swept in this ballpark by the Cubs since 2015, and I know Freddie doesn't want that to be on his ledger.
Yeah, you said early, Dom, that you look at the Cubs team, they're built around that home run, and we talked about what they're doing with their home run abilities and what they've done, and they've done it to the Dodgers, they've done it to everybody in baseball. They're swinging offensively, swinging the bat as good as anybody. They're the best offensive team as far as averaging them. But you look at the Brewers, built a little bit different, built about manufacturing runs, getting the occasional home run. Do they have the abilities to hit home runs? Yes, they do. But if you look at what the Brewers have gotten the last few days, and you take away maybe they haven't had a lot of hits, maybe 5 or 6 or 7 hits, they win ball games with 5 and 6 and 7 hits. Why? Because they get a couple base on balls. And you said it before. They get couple base on balls. They get base runners. That's where the Brewers score runs. And you look at the pitchers that have pitched against the Brewers last few days, they haven't walked a lot. They haven't gotten a lot of base on balls. They haven't been able to put guys in position where they can run and go to extra bases and manufacture runs. So I think that has a little bit to do with it too. It's just that right now, as far as getting guys on base, coming up with key hits, it's been very tough. We've been very lucky to have the home run today with Rayce Hoskins, and then the 2 out hits by Chiriot and Terang. But when you look at this ball club over the last several games, and even out to the West Coast, boy, I tell you, manufacturing runs is the way this team does it. But they haven't been getting on base. You walk, you put them on base. This team will score some runs.
So tomorrow, I never want to call something must win in May, but for your psyche, for your mental, for your confidence, because, I mean, to be honest, there's not a lot of confidence rating from there, too. That's that edge, again, we're talking about. But it's not a must-win. But gosh darn it, you really, 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 really want to win tomorrow because, man, it's one of those things that we know what it's like in this ballpark when the Cubs fans are here, and they paid their money over just like Brewers fans do. I have no problem with anything of that regard. But at the same time, you got to wear it on the chin a little bit. It's like, I can't let them cheer again in our house, that sort of thing. And the only guys that can have a say in that is the guys on the field.
Yeah, I think when you come into this series, someone had asked me what I thought about this series and who was it more important to, and I said it's actually more important to the Cubs. Cubs coming into Milwaukee and saying, hey, this is who we are in 2025. This is we're out to win this division. You won it last year, but now it's going to be our division. I thought it was a bigger series for the Cubs, and really they're proving it that it is a bigger series for this club. They played very well and scored a bunch of runs first 2 games. But I think tomorrow's really a special game. I agree with you. I think having Freddie Peralta, your number 1 guy on the mound, I think this is a good challenge game. It's a challenge game for not only Freddie to go out and say, hey, I'm the stopper, I'm this number 1 guy, I'm the opening day guy. I want you guys to get on my back, and I'm going to carry you. But it's also for this ball club to say, hey, you know what? We got our number 1 guy going. Yeah, we're facing a good pitcher. But I'm going to tell you what. This is a big game for us. This is a big game to see exactly where we are. As much as the first 2 games were important, this game, like you just said, Dom, is important. Just having Freddie Peralta on the mound, just go out and play a good, solid game, get a big win. That really puts things in better perspective to say, hey, you know what? We haven't been playing well, but yet we still have our stopper. We get him out on the mound. We're going to go out and win that ball game.
And a reminder, the one time the Brewers faced Shota Imanaga, they shelled him. 7 runs, 2 homers, including one from Christian Yelich. This was when he had like a 0 ERA coming into that game in May. But the Brewers have seen him. They've handled him before in the past, and see if they can do it again tomorrow. Augie, appreciate you as always. You get the day off tomorrow, but we'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
All right. That's it. Like you just said, Dom, tomorrow, you don't like to put them as must games, but they're big games. And they're big games because why? You got your number one guy out there. Big game for the Brewers just to say, hey, you know what? We're still there. We're still around. Tomorrow's going to be a fun game. And I think the best pitching matchup in Major League Baseball tomorrow.
Yeah, ace versus ace. Let's have some fun with it tomorrow. Jerry Augustine here on WTMJ. Quick thank you to Cider Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. Summer's coming fast. Are you ready? Get a new air conditioning system from Cider Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical with $0 down, no payments, and no interest for 9 months. Plus, you can save $1,500. Book your appointment today at Cider, SEIDER.com while the deal lasts. Take a break. Come back with more texts. 855-616-1620, 855-616-1620 on the home of the Brewers, 620 WTMJ.
The I-94 rivalry is more than just bragging rights. Get to the ballpark for Brewers Cubs action May 2nd through the 4th and spend Friday and Saturday night under the lights and help the crew defend American Family Field and the National League Central Crown.
That's your ball game!
Then pack the park for Sunday matinee baseball at the May 4th series finale and take advantage of the Sunday Fun Day bundle. Get your tickets now at Brewers.com.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here for CertaPro Painters for your home or your business. They came out, did the exterior of our house. The team walked around the entire house with me, pointed out a couple spots that I needed some extra work done. I didn't even realize it. The team's at CertaPro. They've got your back. Call and ask about their spring sales event going on now through May 15th. It's CertaPro Painters, the best in the business. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. It's CertaPro Painters. Took care of me, they'll take care of you. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated.
When your car or truck needs service, you should take it to a specialist. I'm Jim Token, president of the Auto Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee. At a member, new car dealers have factory warranted parts, the latest diagnostic equipment, and certified manufacturer technicians. Plus, their prices are as low or lower than independent shops, even on routine things like oil changes and tire service. Knowing all that, why would you ever consider going anywhere other than an Adam member dealer?
Hi, I'm Eric Brown, owner of Siding Unlimited, reminding you to double-check your home. Siding Unlimited is the proven exteriors professionals for 31 years. Family-owned and locally operated right here in Wisconsin. Call Siding Unlimited and visit sidingunlimited.com.
Welcome back. I'm Dom Cotroneo, 855-616-1620, 855-616-1620. Brian from Tosa, going to be blunt. Brewers aren't anywhere near where the Cubs are, obviously, in the offensive categories, but two major comparisons show the difference between the offenses. How many Cub batters made the pitchers throw at least 7 pitches in an at-bat? I agree. That was a big change in their repertoire today and what they were able to do. I talked about how aggressive they were yesterday, and today they made the counter move to Quintana and nibbling on the edges and was being very patient with them. I agree. The Brewers have 28 home runs, and I'm curious how many of those were solo shots. And in the last 3 games, the Brewers just look listless and seem to be going through the motions. And that goes to what we were talking about with Pat Murphy. We'll hear from Murph coming up in the next segment as well. But I agree on it feels like a lot of non-multi-run homers. If Baseball Reference was communicating with me and working out like it's supposed to, I would be able to get you that number very quickly. But the instant gut reaction is yes, it does feel like a lot of them have come with solo. Of the 28 homers, 14 of them, or now 15 of them, I should say, so 29 homers, 15 of them have been solo, which is kind of normal. 50% is a pretty normal rate. If it was like 60, 65%, that's when you get worried about the lack of them. The Brewers have 1 grand slam. They have 1, 2, 3-run homers. Of course, we talked about with Willie and the 3-run homers last year. But they also have 10 2-run homers this season. But it comes to a matter of the Brewers aren't built for homers, so I'm not going to overreact to solo homers. But one number that I'm looking at here while I'm going through the splits and seeing what's going on for the Crew so far this year, their first and second time against a starting pitcher. The Brewers actually have struggled a second time against a starting pitcher. Now, this could be an anomaly being such a small sample size so far in the season, but their OPS, their average, their on base, it all goes down the second time they see the starting pitcher as opposed to the first. And we talked about how rare it is you see a starter for a third time. Now, the numbers do naturally rise again when you do see a pitcher for a third time, but I wonder if there's anything to that, adjustments or things to be done in that regard. Another text here from Mark, just a few observations, hopefully aren't too far out of the playoffs by September, but you're talking about Woody. Hey, Woody's back literally in 2 weeks, so there's a first case of misinformation here on the text messages. The next question, the Brewers wanted Yelly and his capability of wanted to make sure that he can get some hits. I agree, he wants to get hits just like the rest of the lineup. It's not for a lack of effort. Murphy with the excuses on injuries. What about the training staff? Hey, we're done. All right, you're good. But the thing is, injuries get to every team. And I know some folks hate hearing that. Even, the Cubs, they have their best pitcher, Justin Steele. He is out for the year. They've had some underperformers as well on third base, right? They've had 6 different third basemen start there. They keep rotating it in and out there. You have to figure that for the Cubs, the big thing that they're worried about right now is another blow to their starting rotation. Because Colin Ray is into the rotation now, and it's May. Everything feels good now, but when you get a few more miles on the arm, you look at the Red Sox, right? Tristan Casas goes down with a season-ending injury in the blink of an eye, right? Things happen in a moment's notice, and that can change the entire complexion of a season. And it's just why we play all 162. Brewers can get back on track with a win tomorrow, but it doesn't change the fact that they lose the series. Maybe you sleep a little better that night, but nonetheless, you're already chomping at the bit to see these guys again coming up in June. But the fact of the matter is, the Brewers found out. This is what this week was all about. They found out. The 10-game road trip, this 3 games against the Cubs, we talked about it coming into this stretch, and now here we are at the end of it, having lost 3 of the 4 series over these last 4 stretches. The 3 out of 4 in San Francisco, 2 out of 3 in St. Louis. You win the series in Chicago, but probably should have swept them, and now you've lost the series to the Cubs. Okay, you found out. How do you fix it? How do you close the gap? That is what the rest of May is all about, because the Astros coming in, playing a lot better baseball this week. You'll find out against them as well. The Rays are playing good baseball. You got to go to a minor league park coming up next weekend. You're going to find out there. Cleveland, they can pitch. They've got a great bullpen. What are you going to find out when you go to face a Create Your Own Energy series again? Because you're going to Cleveland. It's a midweek series. There's not going to be a ton of people in the ballpark. Keep that in mind, that it's not going to get easier. It's going to get harder before it gets easier. And the sooner the Brewers can get past that harder portion, you have to hope that the cream will rise and they will get better at what they were supposed to be doing, because you can look across the board. I would say there are only 2 players playing to their expectation right now, and that is Rhys Hoskins and Bryce Turang. And you know what? A close on the offensive side of the ball, and close is Sal Frelick, given his batting average is still hovering around 300. Okay, everyone else, there's room for improvement, and I think that's why the Brewers are 2 games under 500, and I think that's a very fair take to see what it is. But we're 34 games into this. There's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's still over 128 games remaining. 128 games remaining. These first 34 have not gone well. 128 games to figure out what you can do. They're only 2 games under 500. See what they can figure out. We'll hear from the manager, Pat Murphy, in a moment. We'll also get some more thoughts from you. We're going to the top of the hour, 855-616-1620, 855-616-1620, on your home of the Brewers, 620 WTMJ.
Trust in your family's comfort at home with Cider Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. They're the oldest family-owned HVAC company in southeast Wisconsin. 4 generations of Ciders, and their highly trained technicians provide a one-stop shop for all home and business comfort needs, including an emergency service line that's always live and a 12-year parts and labor warranty on all Daikin products. Get peace of mind by scheduling maintenance today with Cider Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. That's SEIDER, cider.com.
Wherever you are in Wisconsin, there's a free and confidential Aging and Disability Resource Center, ADRC, or Tribal Partner Agency. We're here for older adults, adults with disabilities, and your families. ADRCs are a bridge to support for benefits and financial assistance, transportation, in-home care, and more. Get to know your local ADRC and connect with resources today. Call toll-free 1-844-WIS-ADRC or go to findmyadrc.org. Paid for by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Looking ahead to life's next adventure? Hi, I'm Mike Yancey from Yancey & Associates. Whether you're buying a home or launching your dream business, we know there's a lot on your plate. But here's the thing, you don't have to go it alone. Since 1946, we've helped Wisconsinites like you secure, protect, and grow their version of the American dream. Our team is ready to tailor the perfect plan for you. Learn more at ANSAY.com. That's ANSAY.com.
We get it. You're on the go, and life gets in the way. Stay up to date on all things WTMJ with podcasts of every show. Available on WTMJ.com. And don't forget you can stream WTMJ online and watch your favorite WTMJ shows on YouTube. Every show, when you want it, no matter where you are. We are Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio 620 WTMJ. This is Brewers Extra Innings on WTMJ.
There was one highlight today. It's an easy pick for our play of the game. It came off the torpedo bat of Rhys Hoskins.
Fly ball hit deep, left center field. Back goes Crow Armstrong onto the track. Wall, see ya later. Rhys Hoskins blasts one into the Brewers bullpen and gets a jolt of life back to Milwaukee with that swing. It's a 5-2 ball game.
Unfortunately, it will be the last run of the game, as called by Josh Maurer. It's brought to you by Surfside. Surfside iced tea and vodka. Surfside lemonade and vodka, a proud partner of the Milwaukee Brewers, paired perfectly with a day at the ballpark. Stocked at American Family Field all season long. So he was the highlight. He's been playing well. He's got 4 homers now this season. Still, he would like a few more, wouldn't everybody? Pat Murphy talking about the gap, talking about how good the Cubs are, and the quotes that we alluded to earlier in the show about losing their edge and trying to find it once again, as Pat Murphy's post-game comments here on WTMJ.
Oh, they're a tremendous ball club right now, and doesn't look like they're going to slow down. I mean, they're tremendous.
Clear for 4.5.
Some of the best teams in the league, and they manhandled us both games tonight. Even though tonight was a little closer, it's still never in doubt. We didn't put pressure on them. It is the first home series we've lost this year. It doesn't seem like that, but it is the first home series. We do have six really relatively inexperienced players in our lineup. But it seems like we've misplaced our edge a little bit. It seems like and some of that is being behind, but still it seems like we misplaced our edge. We don't have the confidence, we're not playing with the confidence, but I'm not losing hope, or I'm not worried about it. I know who these people are, so I'm confident they will find it. Just a little shocked that we've misplaced that edge a little bit, but it is the first home series we've lost. We do have some youth out there. Quintana's been great for us all year. He deserves to have one outing where he wasn't as sharp. Still outstretched ball in the first inning where it's just hit up the middle, not that hard. 1 or 2 pitches and he's still in control like always. He's pitched with traffic the last couple outings, but he gave up the big hit there, and with our offense sputtering here lately, but again, I don't want to break up offense, defense, and pitching because they're all connected. They all when one's going bad, one's uncertain, one's pressing, that kind of thing. So again, we've got a lot of injuries, we've got a lot of youth. I have high hopes for this club.
How do you kind of go about getting that edge back? There's probably not a script for it. What do you think?
I mean, I think teams lose it. Honestly, I think teams do lose it from time to time. We lost it a little bit. Remember at the end of the year last year, we lost it a little and then felt like we regained it right at the end with the big win the comeback win over the Diamondbacks. And I think, but, I saw us lost a little bit. Not as dramatic as this because we've got some of our main hitters not swinging the bat close to what they're capable of, and it's confidence, And it's hard sometimes when you're playing an emotional series against the Cubs who, again, they probably felt this way last year, you know what I mean, that we feel right now. So they got a really good ball club. They deserve it. The kid that pitched tonight, he's an underrated pitcher. I told you that. The kid can pitch, man. He's got great extension, so the 91 doesn't look like much on the board, but when you sit up and face it, it's pretty good. He's impeccable command. The kid behind the plate did a great job with him. I mean, we popped up 10-plus times. Pop-ups. Like 5 to the first baseman. I bet that's a record. Pretty amazing. But we've just misplaced our edge a little bit, and I think we will regain it. How do you do it? It's like it's a decision. Like when you don't feel good about something in your life, how do you get through that? You got to face it. You got to admit it. You got to be vulnerable. And if they're vulnerable, then you got to maybe take somebody else's advice, or prepare so much that something happens to get it back. So, and if you have great experience that you've already done it in your life, it's not like some of these young guys haven't done it that well, so they're not going to maybe have an easiest time. But our older guys that have done it well in their lives, some of them at the highest level, they'll, they know they've done it. That helps in the experience helps in the confidence.
I think that at the very end is what we're getting at with the veterans and the pillars trying to lead the way for this team. But it's hard when, they're just as responsible for the lack of offense as of late. Are there quick fixes? There's no such thing as a quick fix. Are there pieces in the minor leagues that you should be monitoring? Let's talk about what could be realistic fixes and what should be starting to approach the radar if the Brewers want to start thinking about how could they improve the team sooner as opposed to later. That's coming up next here on 620 WTMJ.
Looking for localized banking solutions and a strategic partner? Fifth Third Bank has been shaping the future for businesses for 167 years and for the last 15 right here in Milwaukee. We offer industry-specific expertise, local decision-making, and extensive experience to help you navigate the ever-changing business landscape with your business in mind. At Fifth Third, we're big enough to provide sophisticated solutions and expert guidance, yet empowered to make local decisions and build strong community connections. Experience the commercial banking value only Fifth Third can deliver. Fifth Third Bank National Association. Custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC.
The I-94 rivalry is more than just bragging rights. Get to the ballpark for Brewers Cubs action May 2nd through the 4th and spend Friday and Saturday night under the lights and help the Crew defend American Family Field and the National League Central Crown.
That's your ball game!
Then pack the park for Sunday matinee baseball at the May 4th series finale and take advantage of the Sunday Fun Day bundle. Get your tickets now at Brewers.com.
There's an amazing supper club in Wisconsin Dells, Ish Nala, nestled among the pines and perched above the sandstone bluffs of Mirror Lake. The beauty, the history, the service, the food, the fun. Hi, this is Bob Prosser, owner of Ish Nala Supper Club in Wisconsin Dells. I've been a part of Ish Nala since 1973, and I am so proud to continue the tradition that began in 1953. Why not enjoy a brandy old-fashioned in one of our bars, each with a spectacular view overlooking Mirror Lake, or just relax before or after dinner on one of our outdoor decks. Our Ish Nala chefs have prepared your favorites: 24-ounce ribeye, cold water lobster tails, North Atlantic salmon, and of course, Ish Nala's roast duck. Thank you for making Ish Nala Wisconsin's favorite supper club, where the only thing we overlook is Mirror Lake. I'm Bob Prosser, and I want to serve you.
I came in over 10 years ago and I couldn't breathe, ever. And ever since then, now I can breathe.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventNose.com.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text RADIO to 52886. And tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
This is Brewers Extra Innings on WTMJ.
Couple segments left here on the program. I'm Dom Cotroneo. I want to look down on the farm here briefly. Game that was completed early due to rain in Gwinnett. Nashville defeats the Stripers 3-1, the Braves affiliate. Jacob Mizorowski started that game. By the way, Miz, 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run. It was earned. 4 walks. First time we've seen the walks pop up in a little while. Only 5 strikeouts. 92 pitches, though, 55 strikes. 92 pitches in 6 innings. Solid. Mizorowski's not on the 40-man. There would need to be a corresponding move for him to come up. But to see him put together his first 35 innings of the season with a sub-2 ERA is encouraging. Would still like to see that walk number fall a little bit more. 17 walks in 35 innings. That's about 4.5 per 9. Not great. Monitor that. Give him a little bit more time. Another name that's been coming up a lot is Logan Henderson. After he had such that great start against the A's last weekend, or 2 weekends ago, I should say. When does he get on the radar to come back up here? And he's been great in AAA. 35 strikeouts in 26 innings. He pitched on Friday night. I think when you look at the Brewers, they have really hard decisions to make upcoming with Woodruff's return due in the next 2 weeks. Savali is going on a rehab assignment next week. DL Hall just started his rehab assignment. Where what kind of a leash do some of these guys get when they want to try to give a chance to some of these young guys? Is somebody expendable? Do you use one of this pieces of starting pitching depth to go get somebody because they already went and got Quentin Priester, and he's optionable. He can be sent down to AAA once some of these guys get healthier. Those are a few guys that are on the radar. When you think about even lower levels, right? Like perhaps somebody like a Cooper Pratt. Now, he's not on the radar probably for the big leagues this season. Now, maybe it could be famous last words of the way that he's been hitting the ball this season. A reminder about Biloxi, where he is in AA right now. It is not a hitter's league. Okay, he is turning 21 in August, so he's still 20 years old for the majority of the season is Cooper Pratt. He got the minor league non-roster invitee. His OPS is 746, which is in the top half of the league in the AA Southern League. He's got a great strike zone discipline, too. 10 walks and 15 strikeouts in his first 114 plate appearances. 8 extra base hits. He's had some good exit velos on there, too, and it's just humid air. Wind always blowing in off the Gulf there in Biloxi, so the numbers may not be as sexy as you may expect, but I wonder how long the Brewers would wait to send him to AAA, because if he puts together maybe 250 plate appearances of these kind of numbers in Biloxi, I mean, he could be in Nashville by the end of June, at this rate with the way things are going right now. So we'll continue to monitor him. But on the offensive front, Blake Perkins isn't eligible to come off for another 20 days. Garrett Mitchell is around the team, but he's still totally shut down from his oblique injury. The offense kind of is what it is. So it comes down to performances from some of these guys to see what they can get going in the right direction. Maybe we see Daz Cameron tomorrow. Why not? Got a lefty on the mound. Maybe Daz gets a look. I was talking to Daz earlier today. Dad might be in the ballpark tomorrow, so keep your eyes peeled. That will be fun to see Mike back in the yard. We're reminiscent about his shagging days earlier with running around the outfield here and all the guys that would take him under his wing. So pretty cool to have him here in this ballpark. Maybe he gets a start tomorrow. Why not? What's the worst that could happen? All right, let's land the plane. Coming up next, Brewers fall by a final of 6-2. Final segment on 620 WTMJ.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
For 70 years, Geis has been the trusted garage authority in Wisconsin. WTMJ's Greg Matzik here. Don't let a busted garage door get you down. Call my friends at Geis today. With brands like CHI and LiftMaster, they have doors for every budget and will even build custom designs to meet your exact needs. For swift and reliable garage repair solutions, go to GeisDoors.com. You can also visit their amazing showroom in Brookfield and their custom design room.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
ESPN Wisconsin's Brian Balaga here for my new friends at Surfside. There's only one thing better than Surfside and golf, and that's Surfside iced teas and lemonade plus vodka on the golf course. This golf season, there's no better drink to enjoy on the golf course. Surfside is light, refreshing, and made with real vodka and real brewed tea. Plus, there's only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles. That's right, no carbonation. Cheers to hitting the fairway, and cheers to Surfside. It's tea time. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
I've had a number of surgeries, and frankly, I don't have time to rehab a surgery and an operation at this point in my life. I didn't want to take time off my kids' activities.
That's why former college and pro football player Bobby Carpenter turned to QC Kinetics. We couldn't be happier saving our patients like him from operating rooms and long recoveries.
I've been able to resume like normal activity for me, which is a lot of running. It's a lot of workouts. I've been very, very blessed with how it's been able to hold up.
For so long, patients have accepted surgery as the only solution. But with new technologies, the medical professionals at QC Kinetics use regenerative treatments, your body's own biologics, to help heal and restore knees, hips, shoulders, and backs.
I actually ran into a friend of mine over at our golf course, and he had his knee done. It felt so well. He'd got his shoulder done. He goes, I can't thank you enough. He'd heard the commercial on the air, and so it's feeling great.
Find out how you can avoid surgery and finally get relief. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Getting ready to say goodnight. Got a few minutes left here in the program. So I was looking back at 2021 for the Brewers. You know, the pre-Willie Adames days. And, you know, they DFA'd Arcia, eventually goes to the Braves. And, you know, Luis Urias, Eric Lauer. I mean, they had a stretch there right about now, May 2nd through May 7th. They lost 6 in a row. And their record fell to 17-16 after they had got off to such a hot start. Then they continued to struggle into May. And then the day before the Willie Adames trade, after getting swept in a 2-gamer in Kansas City, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is brilliant radio me counting, 6, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They were 5-12 in the month of May before they traded for Adames. They even lost the first game with Adames on the 21st when he was acquired. They were 2 games under 500, 21 and 23. The Brewers are currently 2 games under 500. I'm not saying a Willie Adames is walking through that door. And I'm not saying that's the kind of move that's required to get this team back above 500. But I can promise you, everybody in that front office, everybody in that clubhouse, everybody in the coach's office is trying to figure out a way to make the current team better, to prove that they are better than what people think they are. It is always more fun to prove people wrong than it is to agree and fall short of expectations. I saw somebody tweet to me today, oh, well, 3rd place coming up. How fun is that Brewers fans are at the point that we can be disappointed about a 3rd place finish? The bar has been raised higher than ever before. Keep it raised high. Always. I think having expectations is such a way better way to go about it. And being disappointed about expectations, you'd always rather be, fighting to reach to your potential, because the reason you have expectations is because you know what they're capable of. And I think I speak for all Brewers fans when I say the Brewers are capable of more than what they've done in the last 3 games. And they know that, you know that, or the last 13 games, or even to this point in the season. I think it stings more because it's those, fans from the north side, right? Because it's the Cubs, and because they let you know about it, and because their social media is clapping about this is our crew. Like, that's also a little Bush, in my opinion, but who cares about Twitter fights? The thing that about all of this is you lose, let's say you win tomorrow. All right, cool. You still lost the series, but you set the tone. All right. It's not going to be that easy. Maybe when you meet these guys again in a month and a half, You have more mojo. Maybe you're the hot team coming in that looks unstoppable. Maybe, you have William Contreras on one of his tears where like PCA is on right now, where it looks like everything he hits is going to be a home run. There is still so much time in this season. It's not early anymore, but there's still time. I joke about it all the time. We don't look at the standings until July. We just don't. Care about your record. That's the only thing you can really control. And we haven't heard a lot of the quote-unquote win tonight stuff from Pat Murphy this season. And the slogan is still there. That is still the team's mantra. But tomorrow just really feels like a really important day to quote-unquote win tonight. And that's what the Brewers will try to do once again, like they do for 162 games in a season. Tomorrow's schedule. We're on the air at noon with Brewers warm-up. Network coverage will take over at 12:35. First pitch is scheduled for 1:10. Shota Imanaga, Freddie Peralta. It will be a fun time at the ballpark. Hope to see you here. I'll be with you before and after the game once again. For our producer, Nate Rilling, I'm Dom Cotroneo. Keep on swinging.
Trust in your family's comfort at home with Cider Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. They're the oldest family-owned HVAC company in southeast Wisconsin. 4 generations of Ciders, and their highly trained technicians provide a one-stop shop for all home and business comfort needs, including an emergency service line that's always live and a 12-year parts and labor warranty on all Daikin products. Get peace of mind by scheduling maintenance today with Cider Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. That's SEIDER, cider.com.
The I-94 rivalry is more than just bragging rights. Get to the ballpark for Brewers Cubs action May 2nd through the 4th and spend Friday and Saturday night under the lights and help the crew defend American Family Field and the National League Central Crown.
That's your ball game!
Then pack the park for Sunday matinee baseball at the May 4th series finale and take advantage of the Sunday Fun Day bundle. Get your tickets now at Brewers.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
I'm Dave Packer. New tariffs taking effect this weekend as America's trade war wraps up. The cost of buying a car expected to rise with President Trump's 25% levy on imported auto parts kicking in Saturday. ABC News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang.
The Trump administration insists that this policy is going to bring manufacturing back to the United States and that it's going to boost factory jobs here in America. But look, moving supply chains and manufacturing, this is a process that takes years and years and billions of dollars. And economists say that even if the president achieves his goal of getting all of this manufacturing to move back to the U.S., they say that Americans are still going to pay more for cars. That's because car parts are often more cheaply sourced from other countries.